Welcome inside another edition of Celtics Roundtable on CLNS Media. CLNS Media, the leading online provider of audio-video coverage of your Boston Celtics. Welcome inside, everybody. Evan Valenti alongside Matt Egnall here on a Thursday. It's Warriors Day. Everybody's pumped up. And with that and for that, we have a really special guest on our show today. He's a lead writer for Celtics blog. He is the editor-in-chief of High Off the Glass. It's Greg Casoli joining us here on Thursday. Look, Celtics, Warriors, two teams that have won 20 straight games combined. Two of the best teams in the league right now, bar none, if you had to poll people. Celtics are a feel-good story. The Warriors are the best team on the planet and have been for what feels like forever now. Boston, measuring stick game for sure. But I'm trying to figure out a way to talk myself into how Boston can actually somehow, some way win this basketball game. Greg, have you found a way to convince yourself of that yet or no?
Not really. The fan in me really wants to say yes. I think there is the one sort of sliver of hope I have is that this Warriors team has really had a difficulty holding on to the ball at times. And I think the Celtics have a knack for forcing turnovers. They're kind of like in that top third of the league. They're not leading the league at all. But I think they could really take advantage of that potentially. But it also seems like anytime Golden State decides they want to try and lock in, they just kind of steamroll everyone. So nervous. I'm mostly nervous. I want to say I'm optimistic, but I don't think that's true.
I hate that we have to talk ourselves into this thing like, if Golden State really wants to try, like they're going to win this game. But that's exactly kind of how this goes. I mean, you watched in the finals last year, they could have easily won that in 4 games. They're an unbelievable team. They have like 4 of the top 12 players in the world on it. It's not really that fair, but I mean, this is one game. Epic won one game. And Greg, you mentioned something about trying to, generate a lot of turnovers here on the defensive side of the ball. And I kind of agree with the fact that if Boston's going to get this done, it's not that because they shoot the lights out, because nobody's going to shoot the lights out against Golden State and go toe to toe with them in that regard. Boston's going to have to do this on the defensive side of the ball. And the one thing that I think about, and it's a different team, I know, a different Golden State, but you think about a couple of years ago, they didn't have Durant in the Western Conference Finals against Durant and Westbrook in Oklahoma City. The one thing that gave the Thunder a lot of or the Warriors in that mind a lot of trouble was the fact that the Thunder, defensively, a very long team. You had Westbrook, Ibaka, Durant, Roberson, Adams as a 5-man unit that could really stretch out defensively and make life very difficult for Golden State. Now they've added a shot creator in Kevin Durant. A little bit more difficult to kind of scheme against, but yeah, Boston
just a little bit
is a little longer. They have Tatum, Brown, Morris can come off the bench or start and provide a nice spark for them. They're going to have Shemi Ojeleye, who has shown that he can at least hold his stuff defensively. Kyrie is a bigger person than Isaiah Thomas. Marcus Smart off the bench, Terry Rozier off the bench. They have the defensive pieces to do this. I don't know how they can maybe shrink the court a little bit. It's just going to be very tough defensively on Boston. You can't miss any rotations at all whatsoever. It's almost impossible.
I mean, these are probably like 2 of the deepest teams on the wing. I mean, the Celtics have been switching pretty much everything this year as much as possible. And Golden State likes to do that as well. So it's going to be interesting to see who wins that matchup. But I think you hit the nail on the head. Like the defensive communication against the Warriors is just going to be so key. And it's just really going to be put to the test. I'm really interested to see how the guys respond because it has been kind of an easy slate of games over the past couple of weeks, even though the Celtics have been injured. And then, more to the point, Kyrie's just going to have to go blow for blow with Golden State. He hasn't shot the ball that great this year. I know we're excited about the other things, but in order to beat Golden State, Kyrie's going to have to go off, and hopefully he's been saving it up. We've seen him be unleashed in the 4th quarter where he really starts to find his groove. He might need to do it a little bit earlier against these Warriors.
I think that...
Who had that stat earlier on Wednesday about, like, Kyrie has scored so many, like 41 points in 24 fourth quarter minutes, which is a half, which is insane. Like that's going to be the Kyrie.
That's the Kyrie we need. Yeah.
Greg, I think that's going to be super important. I just think, Boston can play its best defensive game imaginable, and at some point, Curry, Durant, and Thompson are just going to score, even despite great defense. So. They're going to have to play great on the defensive end and then get one of their better offensive performances as well.
I guess like my biggest defensive issue with the Celtics, they're going to have to win this game defensively, but I can, Curry's going to probably check Kyrie and vice versa. Jalen's probably going to be primarily on Klay Thompson. Who the hell covers Durant? I have no answer for that. You cannot expect Jason Tatum to guard Kevin Durant throughout this game. I know we've seen a lot from Tatum to be like, oh, he's so great. Kevin freaking Durant is the second best player in the world, or the best player in the world, depending who you want to talk to. I put him at number 2. He is a 7-foot-tall nightmare. I don't know how Jason Tatum at 19 years old has any chance at all whatsoever of guarding him. I would if I'm Steve Kerr and I see Kevin Durant matched up against Jason Tatum, I'm giving Durant the ball and I'm clearing everybody out. I don't know what they do there.
I got nothing. I got nothing for you. I mean, I guess you could put Morris on him, but I don't think he's quick enough to handle that. I don't think there's a ton of great options there. Maybe you explore double teams, or you could try out Jaylen Brown and just sort of get Marcus Smart into the game quickly, or Terry Rozier and have someone else chase around Klay Thompson. That might be an option as well.
Yeah, I feel like the Warriors do this to every team. Just there's always a matchup nightmare somewhere. Yeah, so they're thinking who's gonna. I mean, I'm a bit worried about foul trouble, I guess, with Jason Tatum guarding Kevin Durant. He's picked up a few quick ones recently. I'm worried about a lot of things, to be honest. But, there's always a chance it's just one game. It's in Boston. The Celtics have done well against them recently. Maybe Brad Stevens has the secret sauce. Maybe the secret sauce was Avery Bradley guarding Steph Curry. But, hey, this is definitely – this is bigger than the Thunder game, right? The streak's longer.
Oh my goodness, yeah. This is the ultimate measuring stick. This is the ultimate one. We've watched the Celtics for the season. They kind of defy the odds a little bit every time. The Toronto game and the Charlotte game back to back like that. To have the Charlotte game where Kyrie plays a minute and 15 seconds and Al Horford's out for the entire game, and they find a way to come back down 18-20 in that game. Still made that game a victory for the C's. No Kyrie against the Toronto Raptors. Again, 1-point victory. They found a way to scratch out a win. The game in Oklahoma City was a good one. And Boston came back in that game, and Jason Tatum was kind of what they were going to in the first half, and Kyrie and Al in the second half were fantastic. You have to play 4 unbelievable quarters against Golden State to win this game. You have to value every single possession. You have to not turn the ball. We talk about how the Celtics thrive in transition. They've done a really good job of that, especially when Kyrie, Jason Tatum, and Jaylen Brown on the floor together. But that being said, look at the buzzsaw the Warriors have when they get out in transition. They destroy you in transition because everybody can run to the 3-point line, and everybody's a 40% 3-point shooter essentially, and that opens up driving lanes for Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Kevin Durant, and Draymond Green. It's how do you? As soon as you turn it over, it's at least 2 points, if not 3 points, every time.
I think that's a big point you bring up, is that it's not just your conventional, we forced a steal and now we're getting a dunk. It's we forced a steal and we're hitting a 3. And those points really add up. And when they go small, every single person on the floor for them can grab the ball and go off of a missed shot too. There's just it's unstoppable at times, it feels like.
Hey, Greg, I want to know your opinion on this. So right now the Celtics are 24th in pace and the Warriors are 5th. I mean, do you think that if the pace really ramps up, that's advantage Warriors, and if it slows down, it's advantage Celtics?
I would say so, yeah. I think
so. They got to muck it up.
I'm torn because transition's a great way to get some easy points, and the Warriors aren't just great at offense; they're also great at defense. So any way you can get some easy buckets, I think I'm very pro. But I would tend towards slowing things down. Making it as ugly as possible, because when the Warriors really get rolling, it's momentum builds on itself, and it's just like a tidal wave of points.
Before we do move on, though, let's make sure that we tell people that this particular show, this excellent show, is brought to you by Action Heat. Action Heat makes the world's best heated clothing ever. That's right, heatable clothes powered by rechargeable batteries, which are perfect for this time of year. If you live in the East Coast, Northeast like us, you're going to need something from Action Heat. Action Heat is the perfect solution to keep you toasty and warm, even in the most frigid winter weather, which we're going to experience in just a short amount of time. Action Heat clothing provides toasty warmth and comfort for the entire body, including heated jackets, socks, gloves, hats, and even undergarments like long johns. I can't imagine what that feels like. You can stay warm and cozy from head to toe with Action Heat. And Action Heat clothing is engineered to safely and effectively deliver heat via heating panels similar to a heated car seat. So imagine that on your entire body. They can reach temperature up to 135 degrees and are powered by rechargeable low-voltage lithium-ion batteries that last up to 12 hours on each charge. Action Heat batteries can also be used to recharge your smartphone or any other gadget while you're wearing them. So let's say you're skiing and you've got low phone battery and you're trying to jam while you ski. Just plug it into your Action Heat device and you'll be ready to rock and roll. You can still ski and listen to your beats. Perfect for a friend or family in your holiday gift list. Available in men's and women's styles and at a very affordable budget starting at just $39.99. Again, look, I like to go like winter hiking, snowshoeing, skiing, and all that fun stuff. I got some stuff in the mail. I have the heated socks. I have the heated like thermal. I'm ready to rock for winter 2017, 2018, baby. I'm ready to rock and roll. I've actually never been more well-equipped than I am right now. And our listeners get a special deal, 15% off the entire order when you go to action-heat.com/Celtics or just use the coupon code Celtics at checkout. Stay toasty and warm while you enjoy all your outdoor activities this winter with Action Heat. And one more thing. Listen up, fans. Basketball season is back. And that means DraftKings is in business. Your favorite hardwood heroes return to action. It's time for you to put your fantasy knowledge to the test with huge cash prizes every night by playing one-day fantasy basketball at DraftKings.com. So many different ways to play. Public contests, private contests, huge cash prizes, not that many. Whatever you want, you can do it on DraftKings. Beginner, casual contest, expert contest. Regardless of skill level, you'll find something for you. And the best part is, well, the second best part is you get to draft a new team every time out. The best part is you can win money while doing that. Just ask Dan from St. Louis, Jeremy from Austin. Both guys turned $3 in a solid $1,000. Again, huge cash prizes and bragging rights await you at DraftKings.com. Use the code CLNS at DraftKings.com to play for free with your first deposit and a share of a prize potential package of $10,000. Again, DraftKings.com. Use the code CLNS. Cash in tonight. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. Back with Matt and Greg. Evan Valenti here on Celtics Roundtable. Still motoring along here, and Greg has done some really great work for Celtics blog recently. There's a great article about Tatum that we might get to in this podcast, probably not, on Celtics blog, but we want to talk more importantly about the defensive unit of the Celtics, as they are outrageously good at defense, and more importantly, Kyrie Irving, because Kyrie has been a big focal point of every talking head ever about this trade, whether he would be good or not so good, average. Everybody had an opinion about it when the trade was actually made. And now that we've seen Kyrie in 14 games, 15 games, he's been actually quite nice. And Greg, you've detailed how they've been able to kind of manipulate his deficiencies, mask his deficiencies on defense, but yet still get max effort out of him and not have an overall negative on the entire unit. Are you shocked that the Celtics are this good defensively with Kyrie on the floor?
Yeah, a little bit. In the offseason, I was predicting them to stay about where they were in terms of overall defense, but I thought Kyrie would be a pretty big negative when he was on the floor, a lot in the way that IT was. I thought he was going to kind of slot into that role fairly similarly. But I do think, and the Celtics have done a lot to make life easy on him, but I do think he deserves a good amount of credit for just the effort that he's putting in. Obviously, he's now playing through having a broken face. He's just locked in out there in a way that he wasn't in Cleveland, and it's paying big dividends. And I think they're doing things, and the surrounding players are also helping, because their scheme is now based more on length. It's based on sort of disrupting with their length, and they can switch almost with impunity for anyone that isn't Kyrie. And I think there's some clear rules that they have on and off ball when they switch. And then as soon as Kyrie goes into the pick and roll, if he can't get through that screen, they just switch it. And then they have all these sort of different strategies to make up for that. And I think it's working in a way that it could not have worked with Isaiah Thomas and even Avery Bradley, just having two people that are not that tall and not that long. Those switches onto bigger players are really a lot more problematic for those two. So all the credit in the world to Kyrie and also to Brad Stevens for sort of building basically a new defensive identity that incorporates him and sort of hides the things that he struggles with most.
Yeah, so we know, like, the buzz on Kyrie, and it's always been the scouting report, right, is that he dies on screens. And, you detailed this on your article, but, for our audience here, What else have you seen the Celtics do to sort of mask his deficiencies?
Yeah, I mean, I think they've done a good job of keeping him on less threatening offensive players. So, like when we played Oklahoma City, he spent a decent amount of time on Andre Roberson, just sort of standing in the corner with him because he can't do anything else. So, limiting his time on people that are going to get the ball and go into a pick and roll. And then when he is covering sort of the team's other traditional point guard, they've basically said, you can go ahead and die on this screen if you want. We'll switch it, and then we have a strategy for getting someone new onto him. So they'll switch a wing from the weak side onto his man, and he'll go from the big man out onto the wing. And that's really when I first got the idea for this article, is they were doing that so smoothly, and it was just kind of like all of a sudden Marcus Smart is on the roll man, and I was like, when did that happen? And I had to go back and rewatch, and it was like, oh, it's just a seamless transition. And it's been astonishing how effectively they've pulled some of those things off with so many young players and so many new players. It's already sort of functioning very much like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, that weak side switching thing I thought was actually brilliant. I actually did the same thing. You like detailed how it was going on, and then I watched the clip below, and then I didn't see it. I'm like, what? So I rewind it again and watch it again, and I was like, wow, that's actually brilliant. You know, when you think about what Boston had to do to mask Isaiah Thomas defensively, like a lot of that is very similar. Like what they would do is just say, okay, whoever X is the least, again, the guy that's going to be in pick and roll the least amount possible, we're going to throw Isaiah on that guy and hope for the best, right? Whoever the worst player is.
Do you remember them running Isaiah to the corner in that Bulls series? Like every time that was like
a 2-3 zone. It was play 2-3 zone. It was
that was my funniest. That was the funniest wrinkle of the playoffs. Actually, it was the Spurs like holding their hands like back behind their heads when guarding James Harden. But Brad Stevens comes in second for that one. Greg, you also talked about icing the pick and roll a lot, and how this or how like Irving's been like really, I don't know, or maybe that this is like the best defensive scheme for Irving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, and for anyone listening that is not aware of what that is, it's basically just forcing the ball handler away from the middle of the floor and towards the baseline and a help defender. And I think I don't know that I've watched enough Cavs basketball over the last 5 years or so to say that Irving didn't do that or couldn't do that, but it seemed to be a knock on him that he just like didn't care enough to sort of run through the basics of the system. And that's icing the pick and roll is pretty common throughout the league. But he's really, I mean, he's figured it out here. So I won't claim to know that he could or could not do it in Cleveland, but his reputation would suggest he couldn't. But he's got it going here, and he's just sort of funneling people towards Al Horford or Aaron Baines.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how much of Kyrie's newfound like defensive prowess do you attribute to the fact that everybody else on the Celtics is pretty elite defensively right now?
A good deal, I would say. I mean, I do think he's trying a little bit harder than he was in Cleveland, just based on from when I saw him when the Celtics were playing to now. I mean, he's working through screens. They're not switching everything. Sometimes he's getting through some of these screens that he's been noted on for dying on. So I think he gets a little bit of credit, but it also helps that he's surrounded by pretty much 4+ defenders at all times.
Have you noticed anything about like when he's matched up on somebody in isolation, is he's able to stick? Because I've paid attention a little bit, but again, you've gone in way more detail about this. Is he able to stay with people, or is he a guy that can get blown by pretty easily? And again, having Al Horford or Aaron Baines or Marcus Morris back there, it makes it a little bit easier for him to give up a little bit quicker.
Yeah, I think it's depended on the possession a little bit. There are times when he definitely has just kind of stood flat-footed and gotten blown by. But I think I remember those more because I'm kind of looking out for them, because I'm on guard that like good defense Kyrie isn't an actual thing. I think I'm naturally skeptical of it, and I want him to prove me wrong. But so those moments where he doesn't play good defense really stick with me. But I think for the most part he's done a decent job staying in front of his man.
I always think about last year to this year, and everybody talks about how the Celtics lost Avery Bradley and Jay Crowder. It's like, oh, they're going to take a step back defensively, and they have done the complete opposite of that and just been a really sound unit. I like, again, the clips that you pointed out, regardless of like what particular action or defensive like scheme you're showing, it is really fun to watch all 5 guys move as a unit, and there's like some cohesion there. And when you really think about how well they move, and then you factor in how many new guys they have, it is actually quite remarkable that they're doing this. Like I know people are like to look at some of the offensive numbers. That's more fun to watch anyway. But like defensively, it gets lost in the shuffle that this team has 11 new guys on it, and they're the best defense in the league. Like that doesn't just happen overnight. These guys must, whatever, because they don't get to practice a lot anyway. But they must just only go over defensive stuff when they practice because they just look so good while they do it. They must hammer that time in, time out. I didn't. It's so unexpected that they're this good right out of the gate. I'm just like blown away. Blown away.
Let's bring this full circle.
Sure.
So with the Warriors, we've talked about a few different defensive strategies. What do you think is going to be Brad Stevens' go-to strategy, particularly with that starting unit?
I would love to see him just literally switch everything.
Yeah.
Any on-ball or off-ball action, just keep switching. And basically, if they get into a situation where one of the Golden State's bigs is matched up with Kyrie and they want to try to post him up, welcome that. Because a post-up from Draymond Green or Zaza Pachulia is a lot worse than any shot that any of those 3 other players might be taking. So to start the game, that's what I would want him to do. I won't feign to know what Brad Stevens is going to do, but I trust whatever it is. So
we're going to wrap this episode up at Celtics Roundtable here on CLNS Media. Make sure action-heat.com/Celtics. All your cold weather gear, it's coming, folks. It really is. So make sure you stock up. Again, use the promo code Celtics, 15% off at checkout. DraftKings.com. Use CLNS at your deposit for a free play in the $10,000 pool tonight in the NBA. I want to thank Greg Casoli for joining us here. Again, he is the lead writer, I should say, for Celtics blog. He's the editor-in-chief of High Off the Glass. I want to thank him for joining us. You can follow him on Twitter. Let me make sure I get this right. At Greg Casoli. It's really easy. GregCassoli. You can follow us at CLNS Roundtable. But that's going to do it for this show. If you're watching this on YouTube, hey, what's up? Give us a like down below and give us a subscription to the CLNS media network page, to the 11,000 plus subscribers of you. I love you very much. You guys are the best. Take us in the go with whatever your favorite podcast app is, iTunes, Stitcher, whatever. Download all of our episodes. Subscribe to the Celtics news feed. Also, make sure you download the CLNS Radio mobile app, looking for more than just us, and give us a review on iTunes. Leave a comment of a question and get it read on the Monday mailbag, Matt's Monday mailbag, which is super popular. Thank you for everybody that's contributed to that. But for Matt Egnall, Evan Valenti, we'll see you next time. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll be breaking it down tomorrow for you in the next episode of Celtics Roundtable right here on CLNS.